following program is brought to you in living color.
You are listening to The Liberal Grouch.
It's a ponderous situation.
Are you pondering what I'm pondering?
I think so, Dave. But where are we going to find a Dr. DeHose at this hour?
More than 2 years, a persistent but stupid enemy has misunderstood our desire to live as free people.
All who know, free men stood against the tyrant. Few stood against many.
For more than 2 years, they've tried to silence those of us who believe that America is a nation of freedom for all, not just the privileged, not just for those who can afford justice. Yet, the enemy continues to misunderstand our motives.
Are you pondering what I'm pondering?
I think so, Blaine. But there's still a bug stuck in here from last time.
They fill the blogosphere with lies and misinformation. Where can one turn for the truth?
This is where we hold them.
We will fight them.
This is where we fight.
We will struggle until the end.
Give them nothing, but take from them everything.
We are not concerned with personal comfort.
This is Sparta.
We will fight until the enemy realizes our thirst for justice cannot be quenched.
Ready your breakfast and eat hearty. But tonight, we dine in hell.
We will leave the right-wing, lick-spittle mob of hypocrites dazed and confused.
Are you pondering what I'm pondering?
I think so, Blaine. But what if the chicken won't wear the nylons?
Truth will overcome lies the way the light of day overcomes night. This I vow, for I am the Liberal Grouch. Well, as they say, the wheels are turning. Good day. It's Monday, May 11th, 2015. I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day and a wonderful weekend. I'm Bill Schmalfelt, the Liberal Grouch. And I really thought I was done with WJJ Hoge III. In fact, today I had intended to mail a filing to the Circuit Court of Howard County asking them to dismiss my lawsuit against WJJ Hoge and several others, but Hoge just couldn't have it. He could not accept the fact that it was I who was asking for the dismissal. Oh, he wants the judge to dismiss it, but he wants it under his terms. This is a man who has not sustained a victory against me in a legal setting where he has not lied or misrepresented or fabricated evidence. I'm on a winning streak against this guy, and he acts as if he had all the cards. He has none of the cards. The thing I keep hearing from Hoge and all his supporters is the Latin phrase meaning the ram has touched the wall. Oh, really? Has it? The ram has touched the wall. That was the old-time Roman battle call. And what that meant was that you must surrender your weapons tender, and Caesar would let you live. But all that matters, the ram that batters. Once it touches your walls, he won't forgive. The ram has touched the wall. And in the old days that meant towns would fall. But nowadays some guy who thinks he's Caesar, this wheezing geezer who thinks he's smarter than all. Up to his neck in shit, he don't know when to quit. The ram has touched the wall. The ram has touched the wall. The ram has touched the wall, and that must surely mean the end of all of our concerted efforts to negate all the filth and hate and to give up without a fight. Yet every pervert will feel the butt hurt when they see I've got them dead to rights. The ram has touched the wall, but the specific ram, he's got no balls. And all that he can do is sit and mumble and break and crumble, 'cause he's behind the 8 ball. He may not know it yet, but he will soon regret. The ram has touched the wall. The ram has touched the wall, but it is not the wall he thought would fall. The chowderhead who causes agitation to defamation, I'll see him soon here in court. This snotty whiner, a palatiner, better hope that I'm the forgiving sort. The ram has touched the wall. It turned out not to be a ram at all. Who would have guessed that stupid right-wing creeps would show up with sheep? In fact, the ram was a lamb, and you should hear them cry. Now that we've caught the lie, oh, the wall has touched the lamb, poor little sheepy. The wall, the wall, the wall, the wall, the wall has crushed the lamb. And there's an interesting cartoon of sorts in the comment section of the Hogwash blog today. It's done by one of his premier lickspittles who used to go by the name of Kimberlin Unmasked. And it's called The Long Game. And there's a picture of a trailer. It looks like something you'd tow behind a car. That's supposed to be where I live, I guess. And it says, and this is a quote from me, if I'm a dumb fuck and I keep winning and winning and winning and winning, what does that make Hoge? And then the next panel is Hoge, dressed as Obi-Wan Kenobi, saying, patient and somewhat bemused, watching the cabin boy thrash about as the net closes. Christ be Jesus. I mean, how patient can a man be? He's tried nearly 400 times to stick me with a charge, to throw something at the wall that actually sticks, and he has failed every time. The one time he got a charge through the Carroll County State's Attorney's Office, I was found not guilty in court. His most recent peace order, beaten twice in the same day. He cannot file against me in Carroll County. The state law is clear on that. If he's going to file a civil suit against me, it has to be here in Howard County. I can file suit against Hoge and several others here in Howard County because there's a long arm of the law statute. So we're not talking about peace orders here. We're talking about a lawsuit. So on June 3rd, I had intended to let Hoge off the hook. I had intended just to put the whole episode behind me, but I guess I can't do it because, he has this net that he's about to wrap around my throat, I guess. What fucking net? You've been promising me a net for years now. Oh, the next time I get him in court, he'll be so surprised. How many times have I been jailed already at the behest of the Hogeites? Never. And I'm never going to be because I haven't committed a crime. I haven't committed an act that's something you could sue me for. You tried suing me for copyright infringement. That got you nowhere, except embarrassment town. No, I'm not concerned about a net. And the lickspittle commentary continues. The motion I drew up but did not submit, apparently Hoge thinks he can use that as evidence. No, it's a piece of paper with writing on it. You know what else is a piece of paper with writing on it? The letter Hoge forged. The letter that Grady traced my signature onto. They just forget all that. They forget that I have the proof of all that. And they act like they've actually beaten me at something. Hoge has never, not once, won a case against me where he didn't resort to lying and fooling a Luddite judge. Well, that's one thing. The other thing is, like I said, the wheels are in motion. There is a document that will be delivered to the clerk of courts at the U.S. District Court for the District of Maryland tomorrow. It is that U.S. Marshal Service form I had to fill out. I had to send a service copy of the complaint. This is against Patrick Grady. And he should be, I would guess, served by a U.S. Marshal by the end of this week or early next week. The week just beginning now, So he can have that to look forward to. Oh, yes, incredibly patient man this Hoge is. He's been waiting for more than 2 years. I guess each defeat is just another step closer to his ultimate victory.
You are listening to The Liberal Grouch.
Sitting on a court bench, eyes a teenage girl with bad intent. Poop is caked into his beard. Stubby fingers scratch his scabby head. Hey, Hoggy man, dying from his bad heart. Skin made gray from hate and lack of sun. Hey, Hoggy man knows that he's a dead duck, spitting out clots from his rotting lungs. Oh, Hoggy man, so freaking old, a sick man wastes his last days, spending time the only way he knows. Chest hurting bad as he staggers to the courthouse. He wants to try once more his foe to beat. her alone. That's all her father asked. Forget that we exist and just let us be. Hoggy man, you fool, don't you know that you're a loser? You foolish dolt, the truth won't set you free. Do you still remember the last time you went to court? When you thought that just your lying word would your opponent thwart? And you sit in startled silence when justice reared its head, and the judge said he's not guilty in the least. So freaking old, a sick man wastes his last days, spending time the only way he knows. Chest hurting bad as he staggers to the courthouse. He wants to try once more his foe to beat. Oh, leave her alone, that's all her father asked. Forget that we exist and let us be. Hoggy man, you fool, don't you know that you're a loser? You foolish dolt, the truth won't set you free. Oh, yeah. Hoggy man, you fool! Don't you know that you're a loser? You foolish dolt, the truth won't set you free.
No, it won't. The truth is your worst enemy.
Sitting on a court bench, eyes a teenage girl with bad intent. Poop is caked into his beard. Stubby fingers scratch his scabby head. A hoggy man died from his bad heart. Skin made gray from hate and lack of sun. A hoggy man knows that he's a dead duck, spitting out clots from his rotting lungs. Ooh, hoggy man.
You see, now there's another problem Hogue faces on this coming Friday, the 15th. he has to face Brett Kimberlin in Brett Kimberlin's appeal of the Montgomery County District Court's refusal to give him a peace order to protect Kimberlin's daughter from Hoge. Hoge was accused of being a child stalker for informing his lecherous readers that young Miss Kimberlin would reach the age of consent by a certain date. And what father wouldn't want to protect his daughter? So we wish Brett the best of luck with that. I've come to the conclusion that what we have here in WJJ Hoge is evil. He thinks he's a tough guy. He ain't tough, he's a pussy. And I prove it every time I face him in court. So I wrote this open letter. It says it's an open letter to WJJ Hoge III, but it's really an open letter to all who have supported me in the past and all that have stood against me. I wrote a post earlier yesterday about dropping my case against Hoge in the Howard County Circuit Court. If he could have managed to be less of a horse's ass, I would have followed through and would have mailed the brief today. But because Hoge is, at his very core, a bastard, he and his readers have convinced me that any olive branch I extend will be dipped in the shit that oozes from their pores and then thrown into the fire of their mindless hatred. Let me go back in time. What's the reason behind all this? I never harassed Hoge, not once. He called me names, I called him names. It was a Twitter flame war. That's the extent of it. I never fabricated evidence against him. I never lied to him about court appearances. I've never been anything but totally upfront and fair with him. And yet, he takes every opportunity to put this thing he has created behind me, and he shits on it. I've come to the conclusion that Hoge is either suffering from the early stages of Alzheimer's or he is genuinely evil. Hoge's wife allegedly has cancer. He never talks about her anymore. I wish her well. Being Hoge's wife must be pain enough for the poor woman. He continues to call me the dreadful pro se Bill Schmalfeld. Let's review the record. He's beaten me once. He did that by lying to a judge who is now on to his bullshit. He beat me a second time by rigging the game so I wouldn't be there and he'd win by default. And that's it. Not one criminal charge, not one sanction. His completely fucked up and pointless copyright suit where he got nothing of what he asked for. His contempt of court hearing, which was so flimsy on his face that he apparently felt the need to manufacture evidence to frame me with. His one successful criminal charge against me, I was acquitted. Your attempt to get a third peace order, I beat him like a cheap drum twice in one day. So who's the dreadful pro se? Evidence says it's WJJ Hoge III, who has had nearly 400 bites at the apple and hasn't even left a gum mark. You know, I'm going to make him pay dearly every step of the way. I'm going to watch as he depletes his remaining funds, as he continues to work when he should be retired and enjoying his time with his wife instead of chasing around from courthouse to courthouse looking for ways to fuck with people. My life is not and never has been any of WJJ Hoge's business. And I stand by and will prove every allegation I've made against him. I just wanted to drop it and walk away, but he wouldn't have it. His life is so bitter and meaningless that he revels in the courtroom drama he creates in his own mind, living from court date to court date until his corrupted heart finally explodes and he dies the miserable, angry death alone and unloved that he deserves. In the end, I win. I always win. I'm fighting for the right reasons. I'm trying to protect myself and my wife from you, Hoge, and shit stains like Patrick Grady. Hoge is a liar, a cheat, a thief of time and treasure. He's an example of why so many people are suspicious of Christianity. He is the viper, the blind guide, the hypocritical Pharisee. He's the one who beats his chest in public, proclaiming himself righteous, while all the time he's like the beautiful tombs Christ spoke about, filled with corruption and dead men's bones. Hoge, you are motivated by your hatred, and your hatred will be your downfall, as will your hubris, as will your stupidity. You are a mistake. You are an unsightly scar on the face of humanity, and by all that is holy, I will live long enough to see you pay for your crimes. Fuck you. See you on June 3rd for the motions hearing. Sleep well the night before. And, by the way, fuck you.
You are listening to The Liberal Grouch.
He eats little boys. Puppy ducktails and big fat snails.
You do know that was never proven in court, right?
Hello once again. You may remember me from the series of child scam public service announcements we did to raise money to help care for children in far-off distant lands living in squalor and their own filth. Unfortunately, the Federal Trade Commission in Washington, D.C. has these rules about what percentage of your generous donations must be used to actually benefit the people we portend to benefit. Well, we have a new project now, and this one is called Won't You Save a Puppy? As you can see, I'm at an animal shelter. This could be any animal shelter in Chicago or Pittsburgh or Baltimore or Los Angeles. They're all the same. And this puppy I'm holding is an adorable 3-month-old pit bull named Bowser. And as you can see, he's just as friendly as they come. Look at him, his tail wagging, and I have to hold him back to keep him from licking the makeup off my face. Bowser's a good dog. Bowser deserves a good home. But that's impossible without your donations. So, to demonstrate what will happen to Bowser, I will pull this 9mm Glock from my holster, and I know it seems cruel. I know it seems heartless, but it's the same sort of thing that goes on every day at animal shelters across the country. Jim, hand me another puppy and put the total counter on the screen. Thank you. Now this, look at this adorable 4-month-old Border Collie. You know, Border Collies are the smartest dog known to man. They say that a Border Collie actually has the intellect of a 5-year-old when it's fully grown. The most intelligent dog there is. And look at how he took to me right away. He's just wagging his tail and just loving me up real good, this stinky, flea-covered Border Collie. He's even swatting at the barrel of my gun as if it was a toy. Jim, how much have we raised in the last, 30 seconds?
$500.
Oh, that won't do. If we don't reach $10,000 by the end of this commercial, I'm afraid... Did I say what this dog's name was?
I don't think you did.
Well, let's just call him Rover for now. Look at how he thinks the gun's a toy. Oh, goodness. And the shame of it is, you could save Rover with your monthly donation of $50 a day. $1 out of each of those $50 will be used to care for these puppies, these sweet, adorable, friendly little puppies. Jim, have we reached the...
No, we haven't.
I am sorry, Rover. You see, you made me do that. You don't care about these puppies. These puppies may as well just be orphans in a refugee camp, as far as you're concerned. Get off your ass. You're sitting on your wallet. Dial 555 Puppy Help. That's 555 Puppy Help. And remember, if you don't help them, we will hurt them. Won't you help a puppy?
Hi, I'm Bill Schmolfelt. Thank you for buying this album. God, I don't know how many of these I've done. I'm not signed to any kind of a record deal or anything like that, so it's not like I'm getting rich on these or anything. As I record this, it's December 4th, 2014. 2014. My God. 1 month from today, I'll turn 60 years old. That's the official dividing line from middle age to old. Right now, 59. Late middle-aged guy with Parkinson's disease. A month from now, a sexagenarian. I've never been 60 before. Hell, other than my mom, I'm the first person in my immediate family to make it to the 60-yard line. Dad died in 1983 when he was 54. My older sister died in 2009 when she was 57. My older brother died in 2008 when he was 54. My twin brother died in 2004 when he was 49. With Mom gone now, I'm the oldest member of the family. Do you realize what a responsibility that is? Being the first male in the family to make it past 54. Let alone reaching 60, which I haven't done yet. I'm not counting chickens. Going to bed every night with 15 years of Parkinson's disease in my back pocket, knowing that however many mornings I have left, every time I wake up on a new day, that's a day no one else in my family ever had. 60. Sweet Jesus, 60. My body accepted this fact long before my mind did. Hell, my mind still hasn't accepted it. I still feel the same way about things, generally, as I did when I was 18. My brain has endured the wear and tear of Parkinson's, but by and large, it's still functioning fairly well. And what is the body, other than a conveyance for the brain, a way to get the brain from point A to point B? The brain gives the orders, the body obeys the orders. The brain orders the body to seek nourishment so the body can stay alive, therefore keeping the brain alive. It's all just so well ordered. When it's working properly, that is. I still think the thoughts of a much younger man, but my brain isn't motivated by the same things it was when I was younger. Now, on the rare occasion when I wake up with an erection, it's an annoyance. The last thing I want to do with it is the first thing I would have wanted to do with it 15 years ago. So I guess the brain has changed and gotten older. And look at the body. Jesus Christ, God, I can barely walk anymore. I look at my forearms as I type this, and I see thin, wrinkled, old man skin on my forearms. Dark spots, dry, flaking skin, and they're shrinking. My forearms, I mean. So are my legs. And my butt. My detractors talk about my size, and yeah, I'm still hovering in the upper 200s, but my butt, where did it go? It used to be a full-cheeked and sassy thing. Fleshy. So round, so firm, so fully packed. Well, and let me set up this visual for you. Ever stand a frog up on its hind legs? There you go. That's my butt. Now I'm recording comedy albums. I've written books that nobody buys. The audiobooks are doing surprisingly well, but as of yet, I guess the CDs and MP3 downloads just haven't been discovered yet. Like I said, I'm not signed to any label. I'm running out of time. I can't do the things a comedian does to promote an album. Doing a 60-minute show on stage? How the hell would I do that? How would I get there? Shit, if I could do that, I'd sell CDs out of a box in the back of the theater, but no can do. So I write, I voice the characters, I produce, I submit, and many of my cuts do get airplay on Pandora or Spotify or Slacker. I have my own Live 365 station, so that guarantees some airplay. I'm a member of BMI and Sound Exchange. But my detractors, a pack of right-wing scumbags who would never go outside in the daytime because the sun would dry out the thin layer of slime on their pale gray skins. They poison the well with false reviews of the products I try to sell on Amazon. But it doesn't matter. In the grand scheme of things, 100 years from now, if there's anyone still around then, some historian can look back through the archives and see proof that I existed. I wrote books. I recorded albums. I had audiobooks. I left a mark. And I was a good person. But as I said, I'm running out of time. For it's May to December. And when I move on, will anyone remember? Am I just an object to be ridiculed by malicious wingnuts with their hatred fueled? Should I be distraught? Should I up and quit when these brain-dead thugs go and mail me shit? And I mean literally, they mail me shit. They literally mailed shit to me. It's not like I'm confused by their mindless hate. And they have good reasons. For one thing, my weight. And they think it harms me when they mock my size. It's just their childish way to joke and criticize. But what kind of scum would a foe assail so to post a turd in the U.S. mail with no return address, mailed with no name, no one to shame or bear the blame? So I guess all I can do is try to be brave and just stay alive to shit on their graves. And then I'll hire someone to dig up their graves and put their heads on spikes or make them zombie slaves. 'Cause I know of a guy who does stuff like that. He can tan their skins to make me a hat. And I will wear these hats when I go for rides, with a button vest made from their hides. 'Cause it's a short, short trip from sane to insane. You just add 2 letters. It's really that mundane. And if they think that I'm deranged, won't it be a bitch when I sign a record deal and I'm deranged but rich? And then I can afford and pay what is due their just reward with a ton of poo. So record companies, you know what to do. We'll cash in big on the pay-per-view. I'm sorry, were we talking about something? I lose track sometimes. Did I mention that I'm writing and recording this on December 4th, 2014? And in a month I'll be 60? Jesus, 60. I've never been 60 before. Wonder what it'll be like. Well, having been 60 now for, 4 months and 7 days, I can't say I'd recommend it, but I really have nothing negative to say about it. I believe it's all just a matter of perspective, frankly.
My fellow Americans, here in the middle of the first quarter of the 21st century, as we flip the page of the calendar to a new year and new fear, we find ourselves at a crossroad. Our very survival as a nation depends upon which direction we take. Go ahead. Take a good long look at the signpost in front of you. If we keep going the same direction we're going, well, we're going to wind up where everybody expects us to go, and that's no place fast. And who can see beyond the far horizon? I can't. Can you? And what lies over the next hill? Is it a beautiful village where the people all look like Hummel figurines and the town was painted into existence by the late Thomas Kincaid? Or is it a dismal dystopian wasteland where feral children with rotten teeth lure their victims into the cornfields and road warrior incarnations of Mel Gibson rocket their death blasters in their never-ending search for Kevin Costner as he continues to look endlessly for a patch of dry land? Or is there something in between? Something that seems like it might be a nice place when you see it from a distance, but as you get closer to the city limits, the air reeks with the stench of dirty feet. And the further you go, the worse it gets. There's only one way to find out, and that's to plunge forward with hope in our hearts that everything will be okay. So let's not do that. Also, let us not yield to the temptation to turn back and retrace our steps to whence we came before we were here. That's not the American way. That's not even the Canadian way. Maybe that's what they do in Slovakia. But I've never been to Slovakia. That leaves us with the choice of left or right. Is the right way the wrong way, or will it take us right to where we all left, which is in front or in back of us, depending on your perspective? And that's what it's all about, my fellow American. Perspective. What's yours?
And here I talk like I have problems. Poor Glenn Beck. Not only is he being sued by Brett Kimberlin, but now it turns out he's going to be murdered in the night by the U.S. government.
If you look back at history, what happens to people who have voices and can cobble together people and be a leader, if you go back to what happened with the Armenian genocide, what is the first thing the Turks did? What is the first thing the Nazis do? You have a night of long knives, the Armenian genocide. Any of the Armenians that could lead, any mayor, any writer, any person that was a hero in war, in one day, in each city, they would kill about 1,000 people. They just slaughter them. And they were all the leaders of the community. Anyone that people would rally around and follow. They were killed day one. They just disappear or they kill, which means they do that so there is nothing left but sheep and no shepherds. I'm telling you now, if you want the republic to survive, you must say, you are not a sheep, you are a shepherd. There are 10 million people that listen to this show. They cannot kill 10 million people in one night. You were born for a reason, and you're listening to this show for a reason. Read the essential speeches of Martin Luther King. There is one way out, and it is through reconciliation, peace, love the teachings of Jesus, the teachings of Gandhi, the teachings of Bonhoeffer, the teachings of Martin Luther King. Prepare for a time when voices like mine or others are no longer heard, and yours is the only voice. Can't believe I just said all of that.
Neither can we. And if that weren't bad enough, here we've got the supporters of gay marriage making God mad at us all again. Why is he punishing the red states? That's what I've always wondered about. You know, they talk about God punishing America, and all the tornadoes, all the floods, all the natural disasters, they're hitting in Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Louisiana, states that traditionally vote Republican. I don't get it. Well, anyway, on today's Faith and Freedom radio broadcast, according to our friends at rightwingwatch.org, a project of the People for the American Way, Liberty Counsel's Matt Staver and Matt Barber said that the push for marriage equality is nothing more than an attempt to destroy what God has created, and likened it to someone tossing paint all over a Michelangelo masterwork on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. Barber, of course, was in complete agreement, saying that to try to rebuild on this building block of vile affections and abominations, something that is supposed to be equal to, akin to what God created, God's union of a man and woman, is offensive. It's shaking a fist at God.
Think of this, Matt. I've been thinking about this particular illustration. Assume that you're looking at Michelangelo. He spends all of his life preparing and perfecting the art of painting that only he can do, and such great artistic work that it literally stands the test of history and ripples through time. And so as part of his creative effort, he paints hours and weeks and days and years on the Sistine Chapel. And when it's done, it's beautiful, it has meaning, it has order, it has purpose, and it stands the test of time. We still marvel at the beauty and the magnificence of the Sistine Chapel. And you remember the picture of God touching his finger to Adam's finger and the creation of human life. That picture is known through the ages around the world and will continue to be as long as the world lasts. And that particular painting, as Michael now is looking at this and enjoying the creative work that has just been accomplished, here somebody walks into the Sistine Chapel with a paint bucket and a big brush and says, Michael, you got it all wrong. This is frankly ugly, and gets up there and thinks he knows better and starts splashing paint all over this beautiful creation and destroying it. Imagine the creative energy that Michael is now experiencing just simply being trampled over. And yet here we've got God, who is the creator, who knows the creation that he created, and the crown jewel of all the magnificent things he created is you and I in his image, that has the unity of the procreative and the spiritual component. And then the created being shakes its fist at God and says, no, we've got a better idea, God. We're going to change what you created, and we're going to elevate it and promote it and put laws around it and try to protect it, because we think we know better. The audacity of the created being shaking its fist at the natural creation of God Almighty.
Well, and worse than that, Matt, and doing it and embracing something, sexual immorality and behaviors that, and I don't say this to be mean, that Scripture calls vile affections, and that God calls an abomination. And then to try to build on this building block of vile affections and abomination, something that is supposed to be equal to, akin to what God created, God's union of a man and a woman. It is it's offensive. It's shaking its fist at God, as you mentioned.
First of all, it was not God who created the rules of human marriage. Those were created along the way by the Old Testament patriarchs who changed the definition several times and finally settled on one man, one woman. God had nothing to do with it. Why in the world would an omniscient, almighty being like God is supposed to be, who created this entire vast universe, give a rat's ass about who marries who? Why would he care? Meanwhile, the levels of stupidity in the Republican-controlled Congress and Senate, they continue to reach new levels. Here you've got Texas Congressman Louis Gohmert warning us that if President Obama makes a nuclear arms deal with Iran and the Senate doesn't stop it, it's all over for America.
But we have got to step forward here. It doesn't matter what the president wants to call the treaty with Iran. It's a treaty.
Yeah.
It should require the Senate confirmation and consent. And I know that there are some wimpy people in the Senate that are afraid to confront Obama, but hopefully they'll stand up and do the right thing when it comes to something that really could be one of those things if they continue to be wimps and not stand up to the president in the Senate and in our House leadership, then that will be written up as the downfall of Israel in the United States. I think Israel's going to come through, but by the grace of God. But if we are this stupid and helping our enemy come after us, then we would be in the eyes of history deserving of what we get. I don't want to be deserving of that. We've got to stop them.
He's a smart boy, that one. Anyway, back into the God hates us because of the gay. We return to Arkansas, where Pastor Tim Brooks had a few bad things to say about the governor of Arkansas, Asa Hutchinson. See, last month he announced he would not sign a state religious freedom bill unless it was changed so it more closely mirrored the Federal Religious Freedom Restoration Act. Among the reasons that the governor cited for opposing the bill in its original form is that even his own son had signed a petition asking him to veto it. Well, on the Wall Builders Live radio program back on May 6th, Pastor Tim Brooks ripped into the governor's total lack of parenting for raising up a son who would support the rights of two people who love each other to get married.
Our governor came on our local TV stations and said this, and then he said, my son has signed a petition for me to repeal this, and I, on the other hand, feel this way about it. And he said on TV, this is clearly a generational issue where my son and his generation feel this way. My generation, however, feels this way, clearly making this as a generational issue that Arkansas has got to come to terms with and deal with. And Rick, I was appalled. I didn't know biblical mandates were generational. And I thought there is another case for a total lack of parenting. It's somewhere in this line, our governor did not transfer his values into his son's life. And when he said, I think this way, but my son thinks another way, clearly he didn't parent in morality.
And our angry God shows his wrath by punishing America with violent weather, floods, tornadoes, severe thunderstorms, hail, things falling from the sky. Oddly enough, he's only doing it in the red states that agree with this sort of expressed nonsense. Could it be that the Almighty is sick of this ignorant bigotry? Or does he just have a bad aim? Well, You know how God gets. He's something of a cranky fellow sometimes. When he rolls up his sleeves, he ain't taking any shit. Our God is a badass God. He's picking up the sinners to crush them in his fist. Our God is a mean old God. And the Lord wasn't kidding when he kicked us out of Eden, and it wasn't for no reason that he'll shed your blood. His return is very close, so you better be believing our God is a pissed off God. Our God is a pissed off God. He scowls from heaven above with anger, vengeance, and wrath. Our God is a pissed off God. Our God is a pissed off God. He scowls from heaven above with anger, vengeance, and wrath. Our God is a pissed off God. And when you disobey him and ignore what he said, our God is a big bad God. He will stomp on your cities until everybody's dead. Our God is a hateful God. Judgment and wrath, he's got that in bushels. Mercy and grace is for weaklings and fools. I hope that you have not too quickly forgotten our God is a pissed off God. Our God is a pissed off God. He scowls from heaven above with anger, vengeance, and wrath. Our God is a pissed off God. Our God is a pissed off God. He scowls from heaven above with anger, vengeance, and wrath. Our God is a pissed off God. Our God is a pissed off God. He scowls from heaven above with anger, vengeance, and wrath. Our God is a pissed off God. Our God is a pissed off God. He scowls from heaven above with anger, vengeance, and wrath. Our God is a pissed off God. Our God is a pissed off God. He scowls from heaven above with anger, vengeance, and wrath. Our God is a pissed off God. Our God is a pissed off God. Our God is a pissed off God. Weird, wild, wacky stuff there. I think that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Liberal Grouch Cast. It's Monday, May 11th, and I thank you for joining us. I'm Bill Schmalfelt, the Liberal Grouch. You can find us at our homepage, www.theliberalgrouch.net. That's one word, theliberalgrouch.net. You can send me a tweet at GrouchyOldLib. That's at GrouchyOldLib. And I'd be more than happy to see you at my brand new Facebook fan page, such as it is. It is facebook.com/theliberalgrouchcast. facebook.com/theliberalgrouchcast. And again, that's all one word. Our homepage, of course, has a donation button, as does our podcast homepage, which is liberalgrouch.podomatic.com. That's liberalgrouch.podomatic, all one word, .com. So until the next time we get together, just, oh, by the way, if you're the praying sort, maybe send one up for my wife. She's not doing well. And remember, it's not all that bad. I mean, we'll all be dead soon anyway.
Daily Show, CNN, GOP is not your friend. Christian right sitting tight and making other folks fight. When this heart Huckabee, no thinking, ass thinking, watch out for Sharia law, even in Arkansas. Kill a Muslim or a Hindu, what's the difference? Make a deal, fuck you. Uh-oh, this means we lose. Nominee, not for me. Why choose? Testament of lies. Offer me some respite, offer me quietude. I decline. It's the end of all days as we know them. It's the end of all days as we know them. It's the end of all days
is copyright 2015 by Bill Schmalfeld, all rights reserved, so keep your hands off it.